What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're actually going to be taking a look at all three of the new lifestyle uniforms for the new comic run, which is going to be White Fox, Luna Snow, and Crescent. And as always, this is still on the test build here, so this is still the pre-update, so it's still subject to change, so there could still be minor tweaks or variations to the final live version of these uniforms, so do keep that in mind when I'm going over them. And also, this video is brought to you by Netmarble and the Star Agents program. So now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at these uniforms here. So yes, I am going to do all three of these in the video here, since all three of them are already in the game. We're just looking at the uniforms. I didn't think that each needed a dedicated video, but if you want to see a more in-depth review of them, I guess just let me know and maybe I'll take them into World Boss or something like that. But for right now, for the sake of this video, we can get all the information we need just from the uniform page here and also the skill preview. So for White Fox here, which is the first one we're going to be looking at, her uniform bonus, which is actually really nice. It applies to allies with the leadership tag, and it gives them immunity to fear, and it gives them a 15% all attack. So on top of her passive that applies to characters with the leadership tag, she is now going to be doing a 75% attack increase against supervillains. If you're not fighting a supervillain, you still get the 15% all attack right here if you have the leadership tag, so that's something. Immunity to fear, I'm not really sure there's too many stages that give you fear in like World Boss Ultimate or anything like that, so I'm not sure how valuable that fear will be. That might be more for the PvP scene, but I'm not sure who in PvP is really putting a lot of fear on you right now. I don't play PvP very much, so I'm not in the know for you know, if there's that kind of annoying mechanic with someone with fear going on right now, so feel free to correct me or let me know in the comments below. But anyway, there's going to be two skill changes here. Her first skill and her third skill. The first skill now is going to have like a mini kind of charm. It's got a 0.5 second paralysis. It seems to last longer than 0.5 seconds though, so I'm not sure if it's a bug right here or not, but I think if I remember correctly, when I was in game, it was like 2 seconds. So I'm not really sure on that. It might just be, I don't know, something wrong with the text here. And then we have a decrease of all defense right there. That does not apply to world bosses, so it'll just be for like Shadowland or kind of those things. And then for the third skill here, we have a all attack, all defense, and just a small all speed buff. So she is getting a nice little buff right there. So let's go ahead and check out the skill preview and see what the two new skills look like in terms of their animations. Alright, so the first skill is basically just a dash like that, but as you can see, it looks like that lasts for like 2 seconds. If we go through, I can never click on this, remove, entice 3, it said like 3 seconds, didn't it? Hold on. Come on, hit it. Ah. My fat fingers, I can't hit the correct one. There it is, entice 3 seconds. Yeah, so it's 3 seconds on here. She shouldn't be getting, her only bonuses right now, her uniform bonus, and then the Kamiko's stance, that is her passive. Yeah, so she doesn't have her leadership applied here in the skill preview, so it shouldn't be enhancing the effects of the first skill. So I'm not sure what's going on here. If that 0.5 was maybe when the skill wasn't leveled up, and it's just kind of glitched and showing it at level 1 instead of level 6, where level 6 is actually 3 seconds. But either way, I'm seeing 3 seconds in here and it says 0.5 seconds, so I'm not sure what it'll be in the final version, so keep that in mind. But either way, she has 2 skills now that are going to have some kind of, it says paralysis in this case, but it says entice when I click on the thing, so there's a few discrepancies right there. So she's going to have 2 skills that can charm the world boss, for lack of a better word. And now the third skill has a really, really cool animation. I like this. She goes into the kind of fox right there. And it is an iframe, so that's really nice. But one of the main drawbacks, or well, not the drawback to the third skill, but one of the main drawbacks to the change in the first skill is, yes, you get that entice, but now we don't have our lovely little foxes running around, and those foxes were actually very, very valuable in helping to trigger her obelisk. So if you do have her with a damage proc, you're going to find it actually a little bit more difficult to get your damage proc to go off on the 5th skill, if that's what you're aiming for. Her 5th skill is still the skill that's going to do the most damage with the damage proc, but the 3rd skill now does do a reasonable amount of damage with the damage proc, so I'd say it's the 2nd most damaging skill that she has. So if you did want to proc on this skill, it does have more hits. As you can see there, that's 28 hits versus Oh, no, at the end of the 5th skill, that has more hits. But this one has the hits earlier on, so it just triggers your obelisk a lot faster than the 5th skill, because the 5th skill takes a little while to wind up for those hits there, as you can see. But anyway, that was like one of the only kind of negative things that I noticed about the changes here, is that it's just harder to trigger the 5th skill without having those foxes from the 1st skill. Besides that, I like the changes here. The uniform bonus is really nice, makes her more of a support role. If you're using her just for support anyway, then you're probably not going to really care about the 1st skill change and not being able to proc as often. Or if you do use her a lot and you actually like having this kind of charm instead of having the foxes, then you'll probably like this a little bit more in terms of locking down the boss, because then you can use the 1st skill, boom, like that, and then go into your 5th skill, because it does have that brief second that you're not in the iframe for the 5th skill that you can get hit, so it helps to minimize that if you use the 1st skill right before the 5th skill. But that is going to be White Fox here, so let's go ahead and hop over to the next one, and I guess we'll just go ahead and grab Luna here. Alright, so here's Luna. Well, actually, we need to look at her in the actual skill change area, or the uniform page, so that we can see what the actual uniform changes. Why are you bringing me back here? Oh, go over here, please. Thank you. All right, so uniform lifestyle series 1. So she's getting 5 skill changes, it says here, but that's basically just the skill changes from her base kit, because if you look over here at the Andromeda uniform, we also have 5 skill changes, so they're very similar to her Andromeda uniform. The only actual change is going to be the 4th skill in terms of the animation, at least that I've noticed. Well, in terms of extra effects on it, because the other skills do have slight kind of visual changes, but the actual skills themselves look the same. So let's go ahead and check. All of this is the same, so it's the same change to her passive. It's the same text on all of these skills, except for, well, actually, yeah, except for the 4th skill. That's the one that's going to have the big change here. It is now going to reduce the enemy's cold resistance. It only stacks up to 30%, but it does apply to world bosses, and that should, you know, be noticeable. And it was quite noticeable. I'm trying to remember how much of the damage might be from the cold resist down, or just the actual change in the 4th skill animation. But either way, the 4th skill is hitting a lot harder, and it's a lot more valuable now than it was before. And it has a 6 seconds of entice instead of 5 seconds, so you have 1 extra seconds of entice there. But the skill itself does last, or is 2 seconds longer on cooldown now, because as you can see, it's 18 seconds, whereas previously it was 16 seconds. So yeah, I mean, keep that in mind. You're just going to be using it every other skill rotation, but you can still stick to the 3rd skill as your main proccing skill. And then yeah, let's hop into the skill preview here and see what that's looking like. All right, so all the other skills are pretty much the same, except for if you take a close look there, or yes, there you can see it at the end of that one. You kind of have those pink shimmers now. So instead of being all like white and black, or ice and black ice kind of thing, now it's kind of like just the white ice, and then it's more of like a crimson kind of ice instead of a black ice. So it's a dark red, but then when it explodes, it's kind of like a pinkish color. So that's pretty much the changes. You can see there it's kind of black, but then when it explodes, it's pink. So that's pretty much the only changes in terms of the 2, 1, 3, and 5. Or does 5 even have the... Yeah, it's got the pink and the outline and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the only things that's changed there. But the 4th skill got a full overhaul. So let's take a look at the 4th skill. Boom. She does like a little dance right there. You see those giant ice crystals shoot up from the ground, and then they just have a delayed explosion. And that delayed explosion is actually very important. So if you're using her with a regular like CTP of energy, CTP of destruction, just a damage proc obelisk, it lines up really well for doing the normal rotation. So you just pop that, get those ice come out of the ground, go into your normal thing, and then boom, as soon as you're tapping that 3rd skill for the damage proc, the ice explodes from the 4th skill, so you get all that damage at once. So that's really nice, actually. I do like the kind of delayed effect right here, so you can line it up with your damage proc. So overall, I'm liking the changes to her uniform. I didn't really expect too much, just because I was like, oh no, another uniform for Luna. I don't really feel like upgrading that. I just got hers to Mythic. But I really like this change to the 4th skill, so I think I'm going to have to get this on my live account to see how much it actually does affect her damage. But From initial tests, it looks like it is going to boost her damage up quite a bit because there's a lot more hits here. You get all of your effects right away too, because if you saw right there, as soon as I tapped the skill, I got the heal, so I don't have to wait for the end of the skill to get the heal. So you get everything up front, which is really nice. And then if you are curious, this is one of the skills that has a SFX animation. So if we go over here, you can see her kind of do her... It's like a stage dance right there. There we go. She's showing off to the audience, and boom, everything explodes. So now let's go ahead and hop over to the last uniform here from the Lifestyle series, which is going to be Crescent. Oh, I did it again. We need to back out and actually go see the uniform so I can read off the text that has changed here. So let's go back over, grab Crescent, and check out her uniform. So her uniform is going to give her 4 skill changes, which is needed because Crescent right now is not one of the best paywalls, let's just put it that way. So the uniform bonus here is going to give her a 85% chance when attacking to apply to self, a critical rate increase by 30%. So that is for 4 seconds on a 4-second cooldown, so that'll pretty much be up the entire time because it's an 85% chance. So I don't really see you getting too unlucky and not having that up for like 95% of the fight. So now we have the 4 skill changes. So we take a look here. This is pretty much the same. It has the 1 second of damage immunity. This one is the same. It's got the fracture. This one has changed a little bit. It now has the guard hit lasting for 6 seconds, whereas before it only lasts for 1 second, which was really annoying. It was a 1 second guard. And then it was 1 second of, was it damage immunity, if I can remember correctly? So it kept her protected for the skill, but that was pretty much it. And now the 5th skill has all the same text right here, but you notice that it's missing something at the bottom, right? That nice, is it orange text? I don't remember if it's orange text, but the text saying, hold down this skill to get more effects. Yeah, we got rid of that. We don't have to hold down this skill. It is not a charge skill anymore, and I'm very, very happy for that because she had a very long charge skill. Like, you had to sit there, it seemed like, for ages to charge up that skill to its maximum power to get all of the buffs. Now you just tap the skill like normal and you get all of your buffs. Imagine that. So let's go ahead and hop into the skill preview here, and we'll see what these skills actually look like in terms of their animation changes. So the first skill right here is still very, very similar. Did the first skill even change? That one looks exactly the same to me. I'm not a big Crescent player, so I don't have too much experience with her, so I'm sorry in advance about that. If you're someone that's really likes Crescent and have played her a lot on your account, but I haven't played her much on my account, so I don't have too much of kind of a background knowledge of her. So here we go, that is the same. So that skill definitely hasn't changed. The first skill might have changed like the hits or something like that. Third skill, I don't think the third skill is an iframe before, so I think she's getting an iframe, so that's nice. So we have the iframe there, we got just the regular kicks, and that didn't give her any buffs. All right, then now the 4th skill. So the 4th skill is definitely different because the 4th skill used to be just kind of both her and Io just doing punches at the enemy, kind of like sweeping punches. I'm trying to think of who that reminded me of, but it's kind of got like Io kind of like goes right in front of, like right here, like he'll go right in front of her and then they just start doing like coordinated punches. They're synchronizing their punches on the enemy. Now it looks like we just charge up and do a kind of single blast right there with a One Punch Man kind of style kind of thing going on there. Now the 5th skill, boom, all we have to do is tap it. It is an iframe now. We still have the invincibility, but it's going to be an iframe for pretty much the entire time that your invincibility is going to be up. Because there it is. Yeah, see, the invincibility wears off right when you get out of it. So I guess that's good for maybe PvP or something like that. It could be useful because they're, you know, that would be like one of the only places I can see the enemy having ignore iframe and then having that invincibility come in handy because they're still trying to hit you while you're in iframe. But yeah, besides that, I don't really see too much other use for it. And the skill does do a lot more damage, so I did take her in to test her out just to see if the uniform performed a lot better in like real world situation than her base kit, and the damage was a lot better. The survivability was kind of the same because Crescent on her base kit has surprisingly good survivability when you read her skills. 1 second of immunity here, 1 guard hit here. but she can surprisingly survive quite well in World Boss Ultimate. It might be the heal that she has. She has a pretty massive heal. The heal, I think, is a lot less on this, on the uniform version here, because with their base kit, I believe it was on her 5th skill. So as you charged up, I think you got multiple heals, because I remember pretty much getting a full heal when I was almost dead when using her base kit. So let's go ahead and check that out real fast. Oh, let's not go ahead and check that out real fast. Here we go. Where was the heal on your previous kit? It was, yeah, it was on here. That 10-second heal, I think, procced every time you hit the next level on your charge on the skill. So you have a little bit less of a heal now. Yeah, so you have a little bit less of a heal now, but the damage is a lot better. The damage is basically doubled, maybe even tripled from what I've seen. So that's really good. And yeah, they left me with a CTP of energy on her. So with the CTP of energy, her damage seemed to have like tripled between uniform and base kit. And where is it now? The heal is... Oh, the heal's moved up to the 4th skill, so that's why it was a little bit different. So yeah, you get the one-time 10% heal on the 4th skill, whereas previously it was basically like a 30% heal because it procced 1, 2, 3 times as you charge the next phases. But anyway, I think I've rambled on enough there. Spent more time on Crescent's uniform here than I was expecting, because I wanted to get all 3 of these uniforms in a single video, so I didn't have to have so many videos popping up at once and have like all these little 6-minute videos here and there. So yeah, I tried to get all of these in on this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of the uniforms, if they look good to you, if you think that they still need a little bit more work, if you want me to go into a little bit more detail, so maybe actually show them in World Boss Ultimate, comparing them with and without the uniform. But yeah, let me know, because only a few days left on the test account here. So if you have any ideas for what you want to see, let me know. But that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.